Hey everyone, you ready to dive into something really amazing?
I'm ready.
So today we're going deep into the heart of Orthodox Christianity.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at the Divine Liturgy,
Awesome.
and as always, we've got a great article to guide us through this. It's
Excellent.
from the Orthodox Christian Tools blog.
Okay.
And honestly, it's been eye-opening.
Really?
It's made me realize the liturgy is way more than just a service you go to on Sunday.
Hmm.
It's almost like a bridge between heaven and earth.
Interesting.
It shapes the lives of Orthodox Christians in really profound ways.
That's powerful.
And I think what gets me is that it's not just a ritual, you know?
No.
It's this active participation in something divine.
You put it perfectly.
Now, a lot of you listening are probably familiar with the basics of a liturgy.
Right.
But what this article really emphasizes is how immersive the Divine Liturgy is.
Yes.
It's a multi-sensory experience.
Yeah. It's not just sitting there listening to a sermon.
It's about engaging all your senses.
all of them.
Sight, smell, and sound.
Yeah. That's right.
All these senses draw you deeper into the mysteries of faith.
You know, when you think about stepping into an Orthodox church, you are just surrounded by icons, right?
Oh, yeah.
These detailed images of Christ, the Virgin Mary saints,
Mm-hmm.
biblical scenes, even they're not just there for decoration.
Oh, definitely not.
The article really breaks down how every element in an icon has theological meaning.
I never realized how much detail goes into them.
Oh yeah, like the colors, the gestures, how the figures are positioned.
Right.
It's all intentional.
It's almost like a visual language,
It is a visual language.
communicating volumes about the heart of Orthodox Christianity.
Yeah, you're not just appreciating the art,
Right,
you're
yeah.
connecting with what the icons represent.
It's like a form of prayer.
Exactly.
And then there's that smell of incense
Ah,
filling the air.
it's so rich.
It's more than just making the church smell nice, right?
Right, it's actually really interesting.
What is it?
The incense is seen as like a physical representation of prayers rising to God.
Wow.
It adds a whole other dimension to the sensory experience.
So you've got the sights, the smells,
Uh-huh.
and then there's the chanting.
Yes, the music.
Every time I've heard Orthodox chanting, I get shivers down my spine.
I know what you mean.
It's so ancient.
And otherworldly.
It's not just beautiful sounds, though, is it?
No, these chants and hymns are crucial to the liturgy.
Yeah.
They use really old melodies and texts.
I've heard some are in Greek and Church Slavonic.
That's right.
It's like it connects you to the early church.
That sense of timelessness is powerful.
So you've got the icons, the incense, the chants.
Yes,
It's like a rich tapestry pulling you into this experience.
it really is.
The Divine Liturgy engages your senses,
Yeah.
transcends just the intellectual.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have the Eucharist.
Let's talk about that.
It's at the very heart of the liturgy.
This article called it the heartbeat of Orthodox life.
That's a great way to put it.
It's not just symbolic, is it?
It's not just going through the motions.
The article talked about it being like a real participation in the Last Supper.
Yeah, for Orthodox Christians, the Eucharist isn't just remembering the Last Supper, it's like being there.
At that moment in history.
Exactly. The article talks about how the bread and wine
Yeah.
actually become the body and blood of Christ.
Transubstantiation.
Yes. And when believers take part in the Eucharist, they're united with Christ
And with each other.
in a way that's really deep.
It's a vital source of nourishment for them.
It is at the core of their relationship with God.
But the Eucharist isn't the only part of the Divine Liturgy.
Oh, no.
The article also talked about the structure.
Yeah. The way the service flows.
It's pretty complex, isn't it?
It is, but it's intricate.
So many parts woven together.
It's like a spiritual journey.
So take me through it. What are the main parts?
Well, it starts with the Liturgy of the Catechumens.
Okay.
That's all about readings from scripture and hymns. It's a
Mhm.
time for instruction and reflection.
Sort of like preparing everyone.
For the main event,
And that is...
the Liturgy of the Faithful.
Ah!
This is where the Eucharist happens.
Okay.
It's only for baptized Orthodox Christians.
So that's where the transformation takes place.
Yes, but it's not just about the Eucharist either.
What else is there?
There are prayers, litanies, more hymns,
All building towards that central act.
of communion,
It's like a symphony.
with words, actions, symbols.
All leading to this moment of spiritual unity.
And it's all rooted in centuries of tradition.
Speaking of centuries, the article took us way back.
Back to the early church.
It's amazing to think that the first full Divine Liturgy is linked to St. James.
The brother of Jesus.
That's incredible. A direct connection to the beginning of Christianity.
Yeah. And of course it evolved over time.
Right. It didn't just stay the same, did it?
Well, figures like St. Basil and St. John Chrysostom,
I've heard of them.
they made some big contributions.
How did it change? Drastically.
No, it was more about refinement. The core structure stayed the same, but there were additions, variations,
I guess influenced by local customs.
and different languages.
But even with those changes.
The essence of the Divine Liturgy is consistent.
Yeah, whether you're in Greece, Russia, Ethiopia,
It's the same.
this ancient tradition transcends all those boundaries.
It's culture, language, it doesn't matter.
It's really beautiful.
It is.
Even in our world, with all its diversity,
Yeah.
we have these threads that connect us.
Shared experiences that speak to something deeper.
Something within the human spirit.
Exactly.
I feel like I've learned so much already,
Me too.
but I know there's still so much more to discover.
Oh, definitely.
We've gone over the history, the sensory richness, the structure. But what I'm really curious about is the impact.
Oh, yeah.
How does the Divine Liturgy actually change the lives of Orthodox Christians?
That's a good question.
Does it really shape them?
Well, the article gives us some interesting things to think about. Remember how we were talking about it being more than just a reenactment? Like you're actually participating in the events?
Not just watching a play, but being in it.
Right. And that idea is so
Or
important.
understanding the power of it all.
Orthodox Christians believe that through the prayers, the hymns, the Eucharist, they're not just remembering Christ's sacrifice.
It's more than that.
They're experiencing it again,
Wow.
allowing it to transform them spiritually.
So they're actually encountering the divine.
In a very real way.
It's not just a concept.
No, they're drawing strength from this tradition.
Letting it shape their lives.
Their values, their worldview.
Everything.
Yeah,
The article even described the Eucharist as like spiritual sustenance.
it's true.
Can you explain that a little more?
Sure, remember we talked about transubstantiation.
Yeah. The bread and wine becoming the body and blood of Christ.
When believers receive the Eucharist, they're taking part in divine life.
It's like food for the soul.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just about physical nourishment.
It's deeper than that.
It's about uniting with Christ.
And receiving his grace.
The strength to live out your faith.
And it's not just the Eucharist.
Right.
Every part of the liturgy contributes to this transformation.
Oh, so how do things like the icons, the incense, the chanting play into this?
Well, think about the icons for a second.
Okay.
They're not just there to look nice.
They're more than decoration.
They're windows into the lives of saints.
People who really lived out Christian ideal.
Right. And when believers see those images, they're inspired to follow their example.
It's like having spiritual role models right in front of you.
That's a good way to put it.
And the incense.
The article talked about it carrying prayers up to God.
It's a physical action.
A way of showing your devotion.
I've always found the chanting so moving.
Me too.
But I'm curious about what it really means.
It sets the mood for prayer and contemplation.
Okay.
Those ancient melodies, the texts, they help you quiet your mind
So you can really focus.
on the words, on their meaning.
Open yourself up to God.
Yeah.
It's facilitating a connection with the divine.
It really is.
It's like the Divine Liturgy is a journey.
From the earthly to the heavenly.
Each step draws you closer to God.
Allowing the whole experience to shape you.
This is making me think about the importance of ritual.
Interesting.
You know, it's easy to think of rituals as just empty gestures.
Right.
But the Divine Liturgy shows how they can be so powerful
They can help us grow spiritually.
when they're done with intention and understanding,
They can connect us to something bigger.
something beyond ourselves.
They provide a framework for the sacred.
A way to encounter God.
Especially in a world that feels so chaotic,
So uncertain.
that kind of connection can be life-changing.
The Divine Liturgy brings stability,
Continuity.
a connection to something ancient and timeless.
In a world that's always changing.
It's a foundation.
A spiritual anchor.
It's amazing that this ancient tradition still resonates today.
It speaks to that human need.
For connection, for meaning.
For something that goes beyond the everyday.
That's what makes the Divine Liturgy so captivating.
Not just for Orthodox Christians.
But for anyone searching for something more.
You know, after learning about all of this, I can't help but imagine what it would be like to experience it myself.
To actually be there.
To stand amidst the icons, smell the incense.
To hear those chants echoing.
To feel that weight of tradition.
Witness that moment of communion.
See how it affects everyone.
It would be an incredible experience.
It would.
The article explained so much.
The history, the
Yeah,
theology.
There's nothing like being there in person.
Feeling the energy.
The emotion.
The intensity of it all.
If someone's never experienced the Divine Liturgy, What's the most important thing to keep in mind?
I think the most important thing is to be open.
Open to it all.
To go in with an open mind and heart.
Don't let preconceived notions get in the way.
Just be present.
Take it all in.
The sights, the sounds, the smells.
A whole atmosphere.
Don't just observe, participate.
Engage with the experience.
Pay attention to the symbols.
Listen to the words.
Understand what's happening.
Think about how it makes you feel.
What it stirs inside of you.
The Divine Liturgy is supposed to be transformative.
It is, but it requires you to be engaged.
You can't just sit back and watch.
Open yourself up to the possibility
Of encountering something profound.
something that touches you.
That maybe changes your perspective.
That's a good way to put it.
It really captures the essence of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
The Divine Liturgy isn't just some old relic.
No, it's alive.
It's a tradition that still shapes lives today.
It inspires people
It shows that even now,
in our modern world
there's still room for ancient wisdom,
for sacred rituals,
for the search for meaning.
our connection.
There's just so much to this.
Yeah, we could talk for hours.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface,
But I think we got to some of the key points.
at least from the article.
Yeah.
You know what's really hit me?
Mm.
It's that sense of continuity.
Oh, yeah.
How the Divine Liturgy connects Orthodox Christians to their past,
To their faith.
to each other,
Like a thread through time.
linking generations together,
It's remarkable.
especially in a world that's constantly changing. And it's not just about the mind either.
Right.
It's about the heart, the senses.
The whole person.
It's about experiencing faith,
Feeling its impact.
not just understanding it intellectually,
Exactly. And that's why it resonates with so many people.
even if they don't get all the theological details.
There's something about the beauty
The power of it all.
that goes beyond words
It's about encountering the divine.
in a way that touches your soul,
And that's something we all long for.
whether we realize it or not.
That yearning for connection,
For meaning.
for something more than just the everyday.
So for anyone who's listening,
And feeling intrigued,
what's the best way to learn more?
well, experiencing the Divine Liturgy firsthand would be amazing.
Nothing compares to that.
But there are other ways to explore too.
You could read books, articles,
Watch documentaries.
even look online.
There's so much information out there.
And don't forget about talking to people.
To actual Orthodox Christians.
Yeah, hear their stories.
Their experiences.
It really brings it to life.
It's about moving from theory.
To actual lived experience.
Who knows, maybe this deep dive
Will inspire some of you
to see it for yourself.
to step into an Orthodox church,
To witness the Divine Liturgy
maybe even participate.
and be swept up in the beauty of it all.
It's a journey worth taking.
An exploration.
That could lead you to amazing discoveries.
And on that note,
It's time to wrap up.
I want to thank you for joining us.
For sharing your insights.
It's been a pleasure talking with you,
I always enjoy these conversations.
especially when they're about such fascinating topics.
Like this one?
And to our listeners,
Thank you for being here.
we hope this deep dive
Has given you a new appreciation.
for the Divine Liturgy
And maybe sparked a desire.
to learn even more,
Keep exploring.
keep asking questions,
And keep those minds open.
to all the wonders out there.
Until next time.
Happy diving.